Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jennifer and I post beauty and fashion videos. So if you like that type of content, definitely hit that big red subscribe button down below. I would love for you to join the family here. And today I wanted to talk to you guys all about my favorite foundations for dry to combination skin. So if you want to see my top picks, then keep on watching. So I feel like when it comes to foundation, it can be really hard to find the right balance for dry skin and combination skin, because on one hand you want something that's kind of hydrating so that way it doesn't make your dry skin look even drier, but on the other hand, for your oily combination section, which is usually your T-zone, you want more of a mattifying foundation. And so I feel like trying to find that right balance can be a little bit tricky. So the foundations I'm sharing with you guys today are ones that are my go-tos, my tried and trues, the ones that I've used for years and I just love them. They are constant repurchases for me. And these are the foundations that I always have to have in my foundation box, which is back there, because these are the ones that make me look flawless, that give me everything I want. So the first foundation right here is from Shiseido. This is the Self-Refreshing Foundation. It is oil-free and it does have SPF 30 in it. This is what the bottle looks like. It does have the frosted glass. And I would consider this a medium coverage foundation, but it is definitely buildable. And I am somebody that loves to build up this foundation. So as I mentioned, this foundation is definitely buildable. I am somebody that builds it up to a full coverage foundation. I love that this foundation will cover everything, yet it feels like I'm wearing absolutely nothing on my skin. And it is called self-refreshing because it does refresh throughout the day. And it just keeps your skin looking beautiful. It doesn't budge. And it's just a great foundation. And I love that it gives me kind of a soft matte look, but it is very hydrating because it does have the anti-aging skincare benefits in it. So it's definitely a great balance. The next one is another one from Shiseido. This is the Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. Again, it is oil-free. It does have the SPF 30 in it. And I have worn these two foundations from Shiseido interchangeably for probably the last 2 years, 3 years, and I always have to have them in my beauty room. I cannot live without them. So like the other Shiseido foundation, this is a medium coverage and you can definitely build it up. Now this one is called Radiant Lifting because as your makeup wears throughout the day, it gives you a beautiful radiant glow, but it's not the type to where you end up looking extra oily or extra shiny at the end of the day. But I love this one because it also contains anti-aging skincare properties in this foundation. And over time, it actually helps to lift and firm the skin, which I'm all about that. So this one is great for that balance. The next foundation is a semi-new one, but the minute it launched, I decided to pick it up and I have been in love ever since. And it is the Dior Forever Matte Foundation. I wear it in the shade 3N. And if you don't know, this is transfer proof, 24-hour high perfection concentrated floral skincare with sunscreen. It does have SPF 15 in it. And the matte version does have the frosted packaging as well. And I love this foundation because to me, it's a soft matte. Now, I am somebody that always sets their entire face when they do their makeup. I cannot wear foundation and run out the door because I will look like a hot mess in a matter of minutes. But I love that this one is more of a soft matte. So that way when I set my entire face with a powder, I don't feel extra dried out. I still feel like my skin is hydrated. I still look radiant. I don't look flat, because sometimes when you wear a super matte foundation and you set it with powder, you kind of look flat. You cannot always use a setting spray to kind of bring you back to life, but I don't always use a setting spray. So I love finding a foundation where it's just, it checks all my boxes, you know? And this is definitely that foundation. Like the others, this is a medium coverage foundation, but you can definitely build it up. I know it said floral skincare was in here. I don't really notice a fragrance. Now, it may have a fragrance, but I've just used it for so long that I don't even smell it anymore. But I love, love, love this foundation. And of course, because I love that foundation so much, the other one in my collection is the Glow version. Same shade, same 24-hour radiant foundation. It is hydrating as well. It does have the concentrated floral skincare with sunscreen and SPF 15. So when it comes to foundations that are matte or glowy or anything like that, where it kind of is on one side of the spectrum, I tend to use a different primer. So for example, with this one being a glow foundation, I will use a matte primer with it, because I feel like it just helps to meet everything in the middle. I'm not using a glowy primer with a glowy foundation, and I'm not using a matte primer with a matte foundation. That's just something that I found that works for me. So if you love a matte foundation, but it's just a little too matte, try putting a hydrating primer with it, because I find that that is a really good solution to the problem. But this is a foundation that I love. I typically like to wear this one more so in the winter time when my skin is a little bit more on the dry side, and I am looking for more of a radiant finish or a glow. So this one is definitely my winter favorite. The matte version is one that I use in the summer, the spring, the fall. I do use it all year round, but I find that I use the glow more so in the fall and winter. So this next foundation is one that is not that popular, but I personally love it. And it is the Guerlain L'Essentiel, I don't speak French. Natural Glow Foundation, 16-hour wear with SPF 20 in it, and the packaging looks like this. First of all, I love the packaging. I would consider this foundation to be more of a light to medium coverage. You can build it up to a medium coverage, but it definitely is not going to be one that gives you full coverage. But what I love about this foundation is how light it feels on the skin. I love this foundation for running errands, for no makeup days, for little touch-ups, for kind of like the simpler makeup routine days. This is just beautiful on the skin. I love to wear this in the summertime, especially because, you know, you're hot, you're sweaty, especially if you live here where it gets up to 120 degrees in the summer, and you don't want a heavy full face of makeup. And this is just beautiful. It wears beautifully on the skin. And even as you move throughout the day, your skin doesn't end up looking extra oily at the end of the day, which is a huge plus for me. It's just a great hydrating, glowy foundation without it being too glowy, if that makes sense. The next foundation is a new one, but I have completely fallen in love. It has been all I've been wearing since it launched, and it is the new Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. I actually have it on my skin today. This one is just perfection. It reminds me a little bit of a combination of the Shiseido foundation and the Dior matte foundation, because even though it is glow, it's not super glowy. I almost find that it has kind of like a soft matte ishness to it. I don't know. I love a foundation that stays consistent throughout the day. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do use certain primers with certain foundations, and there's really only 3 primers I use, and I just kind of rotate them depending on what foundation I'm using. So I will share those really quickly with you. So the first primer is the one from Dior. This is the Dior Backstage Primer in the shade Universal. And I have gone through probably like 5 of these. I love this primer. Every time I wear it, my makeup sticks to it. It does not budge. It pairs beautifully with every single one of these foundations. The next primer is from One Size Beauty. It is the Secure the Blur primer. Since this launched, I have been obsessed. I love blurring primers, so that is typically what I tend to purchase. And this is one of the best primers that I have used for myself. I have tried others and the foundations just don't stick as well. This one, again, like the Dior, I can wear it with any of these foundations and it works beautifully. My foundations do not budge at all. And the last primer I use is from Hourglass. It is the new Vanish Airbrush Primer. Again, it's kind of like a blurring primer. This one is my favorite primer from Hourglass. And as you can probably tell, these are my top 3 primers and kind of the only ones I use. I used to love the original Hourglass primer, the Mineral Veil Primer. And that was my go-to primer for years when I was taking photos, when I wanted my skin to look flawless. And I did like it at the time. Since this one launched, I love this one so much more. I feel like you get more of a blurring effect. And it's not that I don't like the original now, I just feel like this one works a lot better. And like with the other primers, it works with all of the foundations that I mentioned. So that way, no matter what I'm grabbing, these primers will work and my makeup will last all day. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like sometimes when you're dry in combination, it's really hard to find that perfect foundation, that perfect primer that kind of gives you that perfect balance, perfect. And it can be tricky. So I wanted to share with you guys my favorites. So if you have dry to combination skin, I hope you found this video helpful. And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you head out. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.